So is that your advice, which is our next question, since you have the mic?
Yes, yes. I would say the things that help us is looking at workflow holistically. Don't forget that customer training on the front end and how those jobs are submitted to you is just as important as your software automation, or your automation software. Looking at workflow as a process from the start to the end, and never stop trying to improve it. Never think it's good enough. Look at your process. Talk to your line managers. Talk with your production employees. Gather input from them. Look at jobs that went through your system with less than perfect workflow. Look at jobs that went through your system that were delivered incorrectly. We all have them. It's something that we don't like to talk about and something that we definitely don't like going out the door that's incorrect. But we have those. Don't just think, okay, this is not going to happen again. Put a process in place to keep it from happening again. Look at workflow as more than just moving jobs through the shop. Look at it as a procedure that, if implemented properly, can save you a lot of time and money.
Great advice. How about you, Mike?
Other than ditto to just what Sherry said, being able to look at the shop, and we have the same approach. It's a very holistic approach. When Alicia had asked about, or mentioned this to me, and I've always looked at workflow as that road trip. When you plan a road trip, sometimes you know where you're going, and you set out to plan that trip 2 years in advance, and you have the time to really do some detailed planning. But those ad hoc trips, the ones that you're not sure that you have to get there, but you don't know exactly how you're going to, so you rely on what you know, where you've been. When you're on that road trip, you want to know where those gas stations are so you can fill up along the way. So being able to really cover what you know about your industry, and our vertical is government, and we know government pretty well. However, we've got a lot of younger generations stepping into the mix as our customer base, and they have a very different way of looking at the way work needs to run through our shop. So we need to have the ability to evolve to those particular needs. And a lot of times, and I've done it in my career, where somebody will come to you and they want something, and back to the comment you said earlier about, I've always done it this way, and it works really well. Sometimes that approach doesn't work, and you need to really listen and engage your customers before you start making decisions, because the way you've always done it may not necessarily be the best way to approach this particular problem. So active listening is really important when you're both working with your customer base and your employees and your frontline staff.
You talked just a little bit about, I think, measurement. He did a blog post about it, and like when you come back from your trip, also sort of analyzing what happened.
Yep. So on a road trip, you take pictures along the way, and you want to kind of relive what occurred, and that's good and bad. So again, the same thing with your workflow, being able to look at it, identify what worked really well, as Sherry talked about. There's things that work great for you, but you also know, if you lift back the covers, there's a lot of things that either your staff or your customers don't know occurred, but they're there, and it's time to address those and fix those.
Other than don't do it all in 1 week, what would be your advice?
So lifting back the covers, I love that analogy. Right now, that's kind of what I'm doing for our organization. So we have little, I would say, silos of copiers throughout our healthcare organization. And now that we're in a central location here in Sioux Falls, I'm meeting with all of these individual departments, learning about what they're doing, what they're printing, and how we can get to that managed print services model that you have into my operations. And I think just look outside your walls, learn about what other departments are doing, and their workflows as well. My goal is really to make sure that our nurses and our staff, they're providing patient care, and I'm doing the print side. I'm helping them with their patient education materials, brochures, marketing materials, everything that I can do here, so that their focus can be on providing patient care. So I would say, yeah, for my advice is, once you've fine-tuned your internal operations, look what opportunities you have. Another thing that we're looking at too is we send out, our patient financial services sends out all of our transactional print, all of our billing statements and everything. And now that we're in one location for HIPAA compliance, security purposes, we can bring all that work back in-house. So look outside at what your organization is doing, and see what kind of new work you can bring into your implant to, be more efficient and save cost.
Great, good advice.